Welcome to the Amateur's Advantage. I'm Laura Ashley, a Grand Prix dressage trainer and gold medalist rider, here to share the tools and principles that help riders and horses work in harmony no matter your discipline. Each week, I sit down with amateur riders, pro trainers, and equestrian professionals from every corner of the horse world to talk about the real stuff. Training struggles, mindset shifts, breakthroughs in the saddle, and how classical dressage can make us all better horsemen and women. Think of this as your tack room talk, your post-lesson debrief, and your barn family between rides. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Laura Ashley from Laura Ashley Dressage, and we are here again with the Amateur's Advantage. This week, I've got one of my long-term clients and friends, Donna Hammond, with us, and she is all the way in snowy Iowa while I am here in sunny Florida. So it's really great that we can connect on this call today. We are going to be chatting about the brand new Laura Ashley Dressage online membership that's based off of the book that I self-published with the help of my team called The Visual Rider: Analogies to Empower Your Ride. So we're going to dive into a little chat. Donna, you were one of my early and long supporters. So you were asked to do a sneak peek on all the online content because I've always said that if I could just like clone you and have 20 of you in my barn, it would be great. So you are my target audience, and I definitely wanted your opinion, not to mention your education background. You're kind of that perfect blend of all the type of people that we hope to see in our membership. And now you're helping some beginner dressage riders in your barn. So we've got your perspective as an amateur, as someone that knows my teaching methods, as an educator, and also as a lower level dressage instructor. I can't wait to hear what you thought of it as you went through it. This is our first time chatting about it.
Okay. I loved the whole thing. The breadth and depth of what you covered was just amazing. I mean, you did so many things right from my perspective. So what I've learned as an educator are people learn differently. Some are visual learners, some are auditory learners. Some people need to see it in words. So what you've put together covers all of that for everyone. The other thing that I did when I went through it was I just did it on my phone. So I was sort of channeling, if I'm at the barn and something's not going well, I could grab my phone, log in, pull up what I was struggling with, and there it would be. And they're all in what I call edible bites. They're 30 seconds to maybe 2 minutes with the text underneath. And then you can go up to the top and see you actually doing the exercise. You covered everything in a very systematic manner. I went through the table of contents, and it was very easy to find what I might need to work on. It was accessible from the saddle and just so easy to go through. I was able to take a couple things right to the barn with a rider that I'm working with and put it to work. There were things for myself. I was like, oh yeah, that's how I'm supposed to be doing that. And then I love the sections where you had, this is what you're not supposed to be doing, right? So that was good.
So with my teaching at home, which you've seen hours upon hours of, I do take pride in breaking it down in so many different ways that it's not your fault if you don't like the first way I explain it. I'll just reinvent and try again. First, I might be sitting in my chair going, now think of it like this. And then I might go, okay, you're not doing it right. Come on, let's go. And then I might go, okay, well, they're not understanding it because getting more excited didn't work. All right, let me get up. Now let me do my little dance. And maybe if I show you with my body what the horse is supposed to look like, then it'll click. You know, you're still not getting it. I'm going to put my hands on your thigh and be like, your leg goes.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
you're still not getting it. Hop off the horse real quick. Can I borrow your helmet? Because I got to get on real quick and show you what I want this to look like. And then if you're still struggling, maybe I send you a video link or an article to read. But I just stay the course with my riders the whole way through going, okay, that didn't work. Let's reinvent until you go, oh, that's what you were trying to get.
there were a lot of lovely exercises in there, but the section you did on the half halt, how you explained it and how you showed it, because so many people struggle with that. They're told different ways to do it. But, and once you get it, it actually becomes natural. But for teaching it, it's hard. And your one that you had was probably the best I've ever seen, to be able
Yeah.
to help someone understand how to coordinate everything to get just that transient hello, pay attention to me, you know, slow down or get ready. I'm going to ask you for something. That was great. Another one that I liked that I thought was almost like a 2-for-1, if not a 3-for-1, was the one on ribbons through the D ring. So
Oh, with the pinky staying down.
yeah, because at these early stages, it's so hard to have an independent seat and hands because you're just trying to stay there, have your back straight, do this. And it's easy to just become a board. So then when you're trying to sit the trot, you're just going up and down like a piece of wood. So, and the hands then are bouncing up and down. And as an instructor, you're looking at the horse thinking, oh my gosh, how can I help the horse here? How can I help the rider? The pinky rings I employed with this one rider I'm working with. And then I realized that not only did it help stabilize her hands and make the connection to the horse more steady, but she had a tendency to ride with piano hands. Well, if
Mm.
you have your little pinky fingers through the loops, the ribbons on the D ring, it's impossible to hold those up steady and have piano hands. So
Mhm.
suddenly I didn't have to say, have your thumbs up, because it was doing that as well. And the last thing was she had a tendency to ride with her wrists down. You can't do that either with the ribbons. So once I got her to that, things just improved, and she's pretty sharp, and she was like she could feel the difference. So I could employ it for myself as coach, instructor, and also for myself as an amateur level rider. So
With
I mean,
the half halt one, it's such a elusive concept, and it's like half halt, half halt. Okay, I know I'm supposed to be doing this half halt thing, but what the heck is it? And it's used in so many different ways throughout the ride that I don't think that there is just one steps, 1 through 10, this is how you do it. It is a feeling.
yeah,
And that is why it's so difficult to describe. But in the book, I broke it down into the ways that you use it, the reasons that you use it, the times that you use it, and how it'll have a different intention behind it, even though it's named the same thing,
yeah.
and how you'll use a half halt for hey, are we still communicating or did you check out? Or it's something's coming up, please pay attention. Or it's you're running through me, I really need you to come back here for a second. Or transitions coming, changes directions coming. So there's so many different scenarios that it's not really a one size fit all, but if you get what it's about, then you can modify it for your situation. And I feel like that's true of everything in my analogy. I'm not saying you need to do this extreme version of the AIDS. I'm saying if you think it's this way, then try this way, and then hopefully we'll find the middle ground. I talk a lot about the pendulum of learning, where
Yeah.
I you swing a little this way and then a little that way, and then eventually you find that middle ground and you settle in that sweet spot in the middle. I'm not saying that you have to rest your pinkies on the saddle for eternity. I'm saying when your hands are going like this when you're learning, that this will help give you an anchor point to relate to, so that you notice when your hands bouncing, oh, it's not staying there, is it? And then we'll be able to, as a Grand Prix rider, bring the frame up and then lift our hands a bit higher to match, but still maintain that stability.
And I think the ability to feel the change it makes in how the horse goes, then you get that reinforcement that, oh, this is what she's talking about. You do try multiple different ways to communicate a concept to a rider, and you tailor how you teach to the riders, which is wonderful. And it's why it's so much fun to come visit and just watch you teach, to be able to help them get that reinforcement. And then, because you can say, I want your elbows at your sides, right? and they swear that their elbows
Yeah.
are behind the cantle of the saddle. And you're like, it didn't move at all. So the exercises to help them, be able to be a bit more assertive about what they ask of themselves,
Yeah.
even though, sit up may feel like you're leaning 20 degrees back,
Yeah.
you're really not. So being able to see yourself and then getting the feedback and seeing the improvement and the horse tells you is just a really lovely circle.
Yeah.
So
So you went with the word assertive, but I'm going to go with the word exploratory.
okay.
That you can go, all right, my arm does move back here. Now, do I want your elbow behind your body? No. But if you explore that range of motion and go, oh, I can move, I can be loose, then you don't freeze in that moment. A lot of my hunter riders are told, like, don't move your hands, just
Yeah.
keep them there and don't touch them. And like, yes, we want still, quiet, beautiful hands, but there is a conversation. The reins are there to communicate more clearly with our horse and transmit information. And sometimes when we get so fixed, then we're like curling our wrist and scrunching and doing weird things because we're so afraid to move. And part of it is that it's like dance. It really is. It's that
Yeah.
freedom of movement with your horse to go, what feels good for you? What feels good for me? When do we feel like we're in one and just flowing together? Where do you go? What the heck are you doing up there? I don't like that. Like, okay, I won't do that again. And so it's that comfortability to explore the range again and find out what has what impact. So while I was creating this content, the first section that I did in filming was just getting these analogies into those short 30-second to 2-minute segments. I'm wearing silly costumes and sometimes I'm standing and sometimes I'm doing a little bit of riding, but it's very quick and to the point. So now what we've got going on for our online members is I don't want anybody to just read the book and then go, that's nice, and put it on their shelf. I want them to live in the pages for months, years,
Yeah.
lifetime, and
Yep.
keep coming back to it with different horses, different scenarios, and seeing how it can influence them. So every month we're doing mini master classes for our members included with their membership so that we're deep diving on mini sections of the book. We were just filming hand and wrist movement this weekend. I had to do the segments myself for part of it, and then my students did the segments. I had no idea how icky it felt to do some of those different postures. I think it was something with my elbows out or tipping too far forward. I could not sit the darn trot to save my life. I am jackhammering on my horse's back. I'm like, I'm sorry. This is only for 30 seconds. I won't do this for long. But I couldn't keep my butt in the saddle. And it made me realize how some of these extremities can have such a major impact on our seat and our core. And that I really felt it because I don't try to go around riding incorrectly. I try to do my best, and some days are better than others, but I try to sit there and look the part. And going to some of those trying to ride bad feelings, I was like, oh, this is why it matters so much. And yes, our seat and our core are our primary aids to control our center, stay balanced, and communicate with the horse. But, if I put my hands up in the air, my center of gravity now just came up into my shoulder and I lost the depth of my seat. And
Yeah.
so, what our extensions are doing is influencing the rest of our body. So, I talked a lot this weekend because we started on the hands and the wrists. This isn't the root of the problem, but it's sure not helping. And if
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
seating your cores right, but you're afraid to touch this, you're missing such a chance to have a conversation. Or if you're seating your cores right, but this is so stiff, the horse goes, ooh, I don't want to touch that, then you're missing that final picture to kind of put it all together. And a lot of times when we're learning to ride, all we can think about is one part. It's funny how I'll be saying, now put your right seat bone down. We really need your right seat bone down. Hey, what about that right seat bone? And then we take a break and I go, so how was that? And they go, oh my gosh, my left foot was terrible. I couldn't keep my stirrup. And I'm going, did I mention your left stirrup once in the past 3 minutes? Well, no. I was like, did you think that I didn't notice? Well,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's because the root of it's coming from your seat. But when we're riding on our own, our mind can get so lost in the sauce of this piece of my body feels horrible and I just don't know what to do about it.
So many times, I mean, and it's a difficult thing to come to grips with, that so much of the difficulty you have with a horse is not the horse, it's the rider. But that really goes to your core of, I'm not a good rider. Oh, I'm a really crappy rider. And this is never going to get better. But once you can sort of understand that, then you stop directing so much attention to what the horse is doing. And you can come back and you can sort of say, all right, what is it that I'm doing? And what you've put together brings that back to, what can I be doing that improves my partnership with the horse? And if you follow through, the reward is the improvement in the horse. So it's sort of a continuing cycle of reinforcing, not so much that you're the problem, but that
You're
your
the solution.
improvements, yes, you're the solution.
Absolutely.
And that turns it into something much more positive. And then when it finally comes together and you feel the energy coming from behind through you to the horse and back, you're like, it's a fabulous feeling. It can also be a little frightening too,
Mm,
because when you really harness that power, it's a phenomenal feeling, but it is not what we as Amis are often used to riding that. So
mm-hmm,
being able to also feel it and then accept it and then understand how all the other movements become so fluid. I
mm-hmm.
mean, that's why I'm so excited about your book, because there's so much to it. There's 76 exercises and you've put them together and you can just continue to go through it because, you know, it's a way to reinforce your own practices. If you can't do online lessons with you, you've got it worked up with Pivo and the clinics when we can get to you or you can
Yeah.
get to us. Yeah.
Yeah. So with what you were saying about, it's often the rider's position that's affecting the horse's way of going. And if we can do better with our own body, then our horse responds better. But I think it's important to remember that identifying the issue is the first step. And
Mhm.
so if you're there going, oh my goodness, my hands are a problem, I go, that's great. You know, your hands are a problem. Let's work on it. Here's
Yep.
a whole bunch of tools, and they're
Mhm.
going from my toolbox directly to yours. They're yours to keep forever. Now play with them. And you might really want to use this one, but you might not be such a fan of this one. And that's okay.
Right.
Not all of them are meant for every rider, but there's something in every section for every rider.
Yeah.
So
I would agree.
we did group lessons. So we had two riders in the ring, and we were filming for the mini master class this weekend. And it was really interesting to use the same analogies with two different riders at the exact same moment with a similar game plan and watch how one of them liked one on the left rein and the other liked the other on the right rein. The outside rein I like to feel like a sponge, but the inside rein I like to feel like clay coming through my fingertips. And they're like, I didn't know that my two hands could have different preferences or that I could use my legs with different intensities or feels in different moments. That was a massive light bulb that each horse might want a little different feel. Each rider might have more results with a little bit of a different concept of the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yep. Yeah. And the other thing I loved is you sort of got to see all the different horses. It was like one of your schoolmasters and everything was demonstrated. You were pulling out your own students in the exercises, their horses, different horses, and it reinforced that dressage benefits every type of horse.
Absolutely. I'm so
So,
passionate about that. For qualifying to be my student, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, it's a Grand Prix rider, and I don't know, am I good enough? Am I ready? That's the point of lessons. You're supposed to come
yes.
because you're not ready and you need help. That's why I'm here to help. And
Yeah.
so in order to work with me, all I care about is that you want to get better and that you're open minded to trying and learning and working with me. And if we hit a roadblock, we'll just get through it together. But that open mindedness and desire to learn is all it takes. And I respect every writer, no matter what their goal is coming in my ring. Sure, it's fun to work with upper level writers and do tempi changes and pirouettes and put on the piaffe. I love that stuff. But oh man, when that trot to canter transition on a 20-meter circle is just like butter as you come through the
Yeah,
corner.
yeah,
Oh, that's some good stuff when you're a dressage nerd. You're like,
yeah,
oh, it all clicked. It's so seamless and
right.
just that figure skater like flow through the arena where
Mhm.
everything's just fluid, connecting and effortless. I'm like, it's just dance. I just love it to see the harmony. And so it doesn't need to be fancy to excite me. The fundamentals are really what this is all about. And I've had some riders asking that are upper level riders, like, hey, is this for me too? And it all is. I was
Oh, it is. Yeah,
shocked when I came to Wellington, and I thought before I had ridden the upper levels that if you have a Grand Prix horse, you spend every day schooling your one tempies and your piaffe and passage, and that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. You know what you work on? Your transitions
yeah,
and your straightness and your balance and your suppleness, and it's just the training pyramid at a more precise level. And the position stuff is just the same position stuff at a more precise level. So everything we're getting at the foundation is going to carry you all the way to the top.
right. And I could see working with you how we start at the bottom of the pyramid and work up. If you have the foundation, all the other stuff in some ways, and this is not pejorative, is a trick, right? But
Yeah.
if they don't have the suppleness and the collection and the balance and the communication, then you're not going to be able to do those well. And I can't remember who was it who said you'll be riding circles your entire life.
Oh, I don't know the quote, but it's absolutely true.
Right, those 20-meter circles to be accurate, the 10, the 15.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And around we go. So when you came to me in your riding, you said, I just want to get better. I want to improve for my horse. But in the back of your head, you also had some competition goals because you do like to have proof of your achievements and progress. And so it was a little bit tough for you in the beginning when I said, oh my goodness, that's a beautiful first level frame. And you're like, well, wait a second, I want to be doing third. What did I do it wrong? Is this not good enough? I said, no, I love it for the warm up or for
yeah,
this stage in your education or for a Monday ride. And I feel like it took you a little bit to settle into it's good enough for now, but it's good for its intended purpose. And that even with your position work, like, yeah, we could cruise through a shoulder in, but what's that right hand doing, Miss Donna? Is it folding in towards your belly button or is it independent and you could press it forward at any moment because your horse is truly around your inside leg? And so we're always coming back to say, but how accurate, how light, how honest, how reliable is it? Because when that shoulder in then has to go into a half pass in passage across the arena and then zigzag back, man, that stuff's hard. And so the fundamentals have to come so naturally to you. One of my analogies is you've got to be able to drop the rider out of an airplane and land them on top of their horse, galloping in a half pass if that's what it requires, because the positioning of your aids has to be so ingrained in your muscle memory, so automatic.
yeah,
And with what you were saying about it's all the fundamentals and the upper level stuff is just tricks, it's not okay, can you ride a half pass? It's do you know the purpose of your inside leg when creating bend? Do you
yeah,
know why you keep your balance a little bit more on this seat bone or that seat bone? Do you know the difference between flexion and bend? Do you know how to get the horse to come more up through its core so it can lift and lighten the shoulders and carry back more behind when they start to lose balance and tip onto the forehand? And
yeah,
all of those things culminate together into a beautiful half pass. But instead of going, all right, I got to remember where my legs go. We spend so much time working on that feeling and what each segment of your body is responsible for
Mhm.
that then when we piece it all together, I don't have to say, do you know what a half pass is? I can say, do you know how to make bend from the inside leg while asking the horse to move laterally and staying in balance and in harmony? And you go, yeah, because I've got all these foundational pieces that we then link together to create the more upper level movements.
And with practice, it becomes more and more intuitive. So, you know, so my half passes from, let's say, right to left are still a little, half
Mhm.
passes from left to right, though. When I start that, my body just goes where it needs to go. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter whether I'm riding my mare or my gelding.
Hmm.
We just go right across, and it's a beautiful feeling.
Once it
So
all
yeah,
clicks, it's just addictive, and you're always seeking that sensation again. I went to in many years back, and when I was there, I was watching the upper level riders, and I was like, I want to do tempi changes like that rider. I want to do piaffe like that rider. I want to half pass like that rider. And I keep that visual in my head and
Mhm.
store it. And when I'm riding, I go back to that and I go, okay, how can I harness that feeling, that look that they had? I do that with my analogies too. I try to get that image in my brain of what would it be like to have grocery bags right now, pulling my elbows down so that I anchor more into my position. Okay, I can feel what that weight would be like in my body. Now I'm going to keep that image and now I'm going to ride.
Or the anchors on the ankles for the heels that have a
Yeah.
tendency to just, yeah,
Float away like you've got a hot air balloon instead of an anchor tied to them. You go, wait a
right,
second,
right.
I thought my heel was down. What just happened?
Where's my knee go?
And
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's, your heel came up, but well, your heel came up and now your thigh is gripping on the saddle and your knees are tight. And now you're unlevel in your hips because you're drawing up on that whole side of your body. And now you're leaning to the inside and now your shoulders unlevel. And it has this whole spiral effect.
yeah,
So a lot of it is identifying what is the issue and then what is the root of the issue. And then how do all the pieces interlink with each other? And you start to understand, like, oh, well, if this is happening and I want the opposite of this to be true, what adjustments do I need to make? So you can kind of guide yourself through this roadmap to where you need to be, the more knowledge that you have.
yeah. And there are so many exercise. I mean, you think about it, 76 exercises.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you probably could have come up with a few more, but there's so much there to riding. It's an art and it's a real sport. It is so much fun.
You want to know a secret?
But
Well, there might be 150 analogies hiding on my Google Drive.
oh, part two.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right.
So now my team will kill me if I put any sort of deadline out there yet. We finished the one book and got it launched as of, well, yesterday.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about what's the timeline for book number two. How long, and we have one team member that is our voice of reason because we're
Mhm.
a whole bunch of visionaries and entrepreneurs and we can do everything. And she's the one that goes, yes, we can. However, we can do it in 3 months, not 1 month, or
Not
one
sure.
year, not 1 week. And so we're working through that timeline now, but there will be another book of analogies that talks about the horse's body as well.
Oh,
And
fabulous.
so it'll go into things like when you take off into canter, feeling that spring in the horse's hind leg that they propel off of, and things along those lines that talk more about the horse's body, the feel that you get in the saddle, not just the rider's position. So this
Yeah.
is phase one of so much more that's in my head to come. And I'm so excited about the team that's come together to help me create this project. Every week on Monday, we have our team meets and it turns into a big brainstorm. I'm like, don't freak
Mhm.
out, but we're going to do this next and then that and then that. And they're like, okay, glad we have job security because you just
Right.
keep coming up with more ideas. But the great thing is all that's going to be coming to our membership. Like you said, with the tech that you can look this up in the barn. There's going to be an even more in-depth app built just around this course coming up in the future. There's
Oh,
going to be ride-along segments that you can listen to in your earbuds. There's more videos and training segments coming. There's the online live Q&As once a month for our members. And then there's video review sessions as well. So it's, again, not just here's the information, but let's use this information together.
so will the video review sessions be where, let's say I submit a video of
Mhm.
something I'm struggling with,
Yeah,
and it's shared with anyone from the membership who wants to log in so they can sort of like a lecture?
exactly. So once a month, we're going to do our Q&As, and
Mhm.
anybody that submits questions ahead of time gets priority placement in
Yeah.
our Q&A session, and then we'll
Right.
open up for discussion at the end if there's any more in the comments. And
Okay.
then another week, we're going to do video reviews. So again, submit your video early and check a box that says, yes, I'm okay with this being shared with the group. And then we're going to have the team choose videos, put them in a PowerPoint, and we're going to watch those videos together as a class. And I'm going to talk through the ride. We'll pause when we need to and go like, all right, I loved that, but let's consider this concept here or this exercise to make it even better.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That
the
that
whole goal
that
is
builds a community. Yeah.
absolutely. Build
Yeah.
build community around it, help each other through it, learn from one another. Dressage is often an individual sport and individual lessons, but it was great to see this weekend in our filming with two riders in the ring together working on the same sort of thing. All right, well, you watch Melissa, and then Deb will be right back to you. And man, next time around, Deb just nailed it because
Yeah.
Deb's a visual learner. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
all she needed to do was see someone do it right, and she had that light bulb moment. So we can learn and grow from each other within this community. And we also have our private Facebook group as well.
Mm.
So you probably already are a part of our Facebook group that's open to the public. And
Yeah.
so
I
we've
am.
got about 4,000 members in there where we're sharing challenges and updates about training, interesting articles that come up. But in our private group, it's more community based, where you all are coming together to help each other because you're learning from the same information. We're all
Mm.
of the same mind. If somebody's watching your video, they're saying, hey, look back at analogy number 6. I think that could be helpful with you. It really helped me in my course. And so it's pertinent information that we all are familiar with, and we're speaking the same lingo so that if somebody offers you support and advice, it's probably in the same mindset and it'll
Mhm.
flow well with everything else you already are thinking.
Yeah. That's great. Plus, I could see people using it as a way to get together at shows.
Yeah. So it's not on the calendar yet, but I'm hoping we can do some meetups for the book coming in
Yeah.
Wellington in winter season, and
Mhm.
whether it be a Friday night freestyle where it's, I'll be at the letter K in the corner and come
Yeah.
find me, I'm in the third row, or if it's let's go to the local coffee shop, Wednesday at whatever time, and we're going to sit down and chat about it. Maybe it'll be me and two other riders. Maybe it'll be
Yeah.
me and 20 other riders. So it'll be great to have those opportunities to pull together both in person and virtually. And
Yeah.
there'll certainly be more of that down the road as this continues to grow.
Mhm.
And there's big visions for the future on how we start as an online community, but this turns into more virtual access to me. It turns into
Yeah.
clinics in your hometown. And maybe it
Yeah.
even turns to you coming for a visit or you and your horse coming to Wellington.
Which I love doing. My
Yeah,
mare didn't
well,
love it so much, but I love doing it.
well, she didn't love it because she got so darn fit and strong. She's like, man, this is a workout. Personal
Yeah.
trainer every day.
Yeah.
So
That's what was so great. 4 lessons a week with you helped me advance so quickly and
mhm,
to go from a point where I never thought I would be getting out of training level to
mm,
actually walk away with a bronze. My bronze medal after 2 years
yeah,
was just it was the dream I had, but I wasn't sure I was ever going to reach it. But you helped me.
Well, I had
So,
faith in you since you got here, and
yeah,
a little bit of faith goes a long way.
yeah,
And somebody that's not going to give up on you when it
yeah.
gets hard. And there was times along the way where you were like, just stick with me. I swear I'm going to get this. I'm going to figure it out. And you just needed somebody that was on your side and believing you and not losing faith every step of the way. A little faith goes a long way, and that
So,
perseverance that we can do this. I'm going to get you through it. I'm not going to abandon you halfway to your goal. I've got a plan, step by step, week by week. We're going to get a little closer and we're going to do this together.
I think, thinking back and reflecting on how we work together,
Mhm.
and then also watching you teach other writers of a wide variety of levels, you have an ability to inspire confidence. It is possible to make mistakes and to not be berated for those. And I'm a writer who really hears the tone of what a trainer says, sometimes more than the words. And, once I could articulate that to you, and I was able to say that to you, first of all, that was really important. And and then so it didn't matter how badly I screwed up. You might have joked with me a little bit about it, but you really do inspire confidence. And, I'm in that group of amateur writers who are of a certain age. Your body starts to not work so well anymore. Your strength starts to go, but you were able to help me find ways around that. And then to see women in their late 20s, early 30s, and another writer of my same age, almost my same name, was sort of weird.
Mhm.
You inspire confidence, and what you've put together captures your personality. Part of that confidence instilling that you can bring is in the material that you've recorded. So I think it's going to be a fabulous book, and I expect it to be a great success. So I will be promoting it to my friends and colleagues here.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be able to help inspire so many more riders. A lot of times it's tough, even especially for me, to be out there on the internet sharing where we're at in our journey already.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm not perfect, I'm far from it. I could do a lot of things better in my riding, but man, am I trying
yeah,
consistently every day for decades. And I continue to try to be better for my horse, but I'm also all right with being where I'm at today. And I think that's important for a lot of riders. Instead of just being hard on yourself, start with it's okay to be where you're at, identify your problems, come up with a plan, get good guidance, and get just this much better for your horse along the
yeah,
way, layer
yeah.
by layer. And then soon you'll start to see, oh my gosh, this stuff is working. I'm really getting
It's,
closer to my goals. It's becoming more real, more possible.
yeah,
And so with my group of riders at home, I love that it's my barn family. It really is. It's
yes,
not just a car that pulls in and I teach them for 45 minutes and off they go. I love my people.
yeah,
And I'm so thankful that they welcome me into their lives in so many different ways. Judging is not my favorite version of what I do as an instructor because I don't feel like I can touch the people.
yeah,
But the thing that's really cool about judging is you get to help so many more riders in one day. So when I'm teaching, I get to work with 8 to 10 horses and riders and
yeah.
help 8 to 10 people in a day. When I'm judging, I get to see 50 riders come through my arena. And I can give them a little nugget that if they read between the lines, they can apply in their training and hopefully they come back next month a little bit better. But with this online training, I can touch thousands in
Yes,
a
yeah,
moment. And
yeah.
that just has so much power and gives me so much fulfillment that I can help riders all over the country, the world. We've got a member in South Africa already, which I think is just the
Great.
coolest thing. I've taught some virtual lessons in other countries, and it's just
Yeah,
the best that I can help people on every corner of the globe to have a better partnership with their horse. So every time I post a video, maybe it's not for everybody. But if I get that one comment that says, thank you so much, now it makes sense to me, I'm like, well, it was worth it. Built this all for you guys
Yeah,
because I don't want to keep this to myself. I've worked really hard to get where I am, and I still have so much further to go in my own education. But I want to keep giving that all back to other riders to improve their relationship with their horse and support them along the way.
yeah. And I'm really happy and excited to support you and see where this goes next. So,
There's lots of layers yet to come. So it's great to get in on the ground level right now,
mhm,
but there's going to be so much more content dumped into that online platform. Some of it's in the works already, and more of it is on its way. So the membership is worth sticking with. The book's in there now, those initial analogy videos. We've got
yeah,
those Q&As coming this month, the video reviews, the mini lessons with the students just like you, adult amateurs working through these analogies for the first time, and demos with me on the horse as well. So you
yeah,
can see how they affect different age, level, ability, disciplines, from the paint horse doing training level to the Grand Prix horse from 14.2 to 17.2. We've
yeah,
got a little bit of everybody in there represented so
yeah.
that you realize the stuff is for you, no matter where you're at in your riding journey and what you're doing with your horse.
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure to connect with you again. And
Mhm.
with some luck, I'll be down in January for a week.
I hope
So,
so. I always love seeing you and chatting
yeah,
about horses. It's great to bounce ideas off each other and love hearing your thoughts on the visual rider and Laura Ashley Dressage online membership. So we'll see you inside the membership and hopefully
yeah.
see you in person soon. Thanks so much for joining us today. That's it for this episode of The Amateur's Advantage. If you found something helpful, share it with a barn friend, subscribe wherever you listen, and leave a review. It helps more riders to discover the show and join our equestrian community. Don't forget to follow Laura Ashley Dressage on Instagram and other social media channels for more tips, behind the scene content, and updates on future episodes. Join us next week as we continue to unpack real life training challenges, mindset shifts, and how classical dressage principles can help solve problems for riders and horses of all disciplines.